Strong looks different for each of us, and it's time to put focus on our unique journeys that get us there. This space created weekly is for athletes to improve their mindset in order to better navigate challenges that come up in sport and in different seasons of life. On this show, we ask the questions that lead to better answers and have the conversations that truly matter. This is the Becoming Your Strong podcast. Hey, you guys, welcome back to the Becoming Your Strong podcast. I am super stoked for today's episode. I actually haven't had the opportunity to tell our guest for today this story. But the guest for today is someone when I originally started hybrid racing. This is someone that I watched from afar. It was my very first DECA World Championships in 2023. And this individual happened to win the dang race. And she did it with freaking grace. And I remember looking at you, Morgan, being like, she is so strong, so fierce. Like, I want to be not only like Morgan one day, but I want to be amongst these group of women. And so it's just been like a really crazy full circle moment. 3 years later, here we are on a podcast getting ready to talk about your journey and your life. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm flattered by the introduction, Kayla. What a great way to start the podcast. Thank you.
Yeah,
so
you're
much.
like
I'm
red,
excited.
rosy cheeks. Okay, great.
Flattered.
I try to do that, try not to make people feel bad when they come on here.
I love it.
But I like I said, I really am excited. And I think one of the reasons why I was excited to reach out to you to come on was somewhere, I think it was on this most recent live stream for HYROX DC. You said this moment has been a long time coming. Like if you have followed my journey from the beginning, like this is a long time coming. And I was like, I need to talk to her because I need to hear about this story because I haven't had the chance to really follow it. So I'm excited for you just to start there and share about where did Morgan start and how the heck did she get here?
Absolutely. So I think this journey starts by going back in time about 7 years ago from this moment. So 2019, I was a freshly graduated 22-year-old. I ran track and cross country in college at a pretty high level. I went to a big school in Illinois, and my goals throughout college were to be a professional runner. I thought I had the talent, thought I had the desire, the grit, the determination, all those, non-tangible qualities that potential future professional athletes think they have. But that road was riddled with injury, riddled with just setback after setback. And in 2018, so actually 1 year earlier than the year I told us to go back to, I had a stress fracture in my sacrum, which is basically like your tailbone for people who aren't anatomically, savvy. I studied exercise science in college.
So therefore I am.
So therefore I am. Yeah, 7 years ago. And there was no root cause as to why it happened. I was just running a lot. And I had a history of 6 stress fractures before that. I went to the doctor, got an MRI, and they were like, yeah, you have a stress fracture in your sacrum, and also you should never run again. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And at that time, it was so bad to the point that I signed a letter from the Big Ten that said, I will not compete again in NCAA Division I collegiate athletics. So what that means is I got medically dismissed. And a lot of people actually don't even know that. I don't know if I've ever shared that before, but I wasn't allowed to run again in college. So inherently, I was kind of kicked off the track team, kicked off the cross country team. And that was my goal, was to be a full-time athlete. And that was taken away from me. So I spent the latter part of 2018 not running at all because I was told, don't run by my doctor. I, was on crutches for a long time. Couldn't put any weight on my legs because your back supports your whole body weight. And they were like, stay off of it. So I was on crutches. And then about 6 months after my recovery, I started getting into weightlifting because I'm like, okay, can't run. I guess I'll lift. And that kind of turned into doing CrossFit, joining a CrossFit gym in college. And, now we're back at 2019. I graduate and I hadn't ran in probably 8, 9, 10 months at that time. And I saw an Instagram ad for a race called Spartan. And I had I'd heard of Tough Mudder, I think, at that time, but I don't know if I'd heard of Spartan racing. And, I'm a newly graduated girl, 22, no idea what I want to do with my life, but I see this Spartan thing. And I'm like, that looks so cool. And at the time they were paying out money for athletes to do like local Spartan races. And I told my dad, hey, I'm going to sign up for this one in Texas. It's going to be my graduation gift to myself. I'm going to go down there, run the Spartan race, and make some money from it. I like distinctly remember that conversation.
Wow.
So for my graduation gift, my parents got me a flight to Texas, brought my sister, brought my dad. I did that race. I got second place behind Chris Rogloski. Everyone knows Chris. Everyone knows Chris. Fantastic athlete, fantastic woman. She's just such a joy to be around. But that was the catalyst, I think, what started my hybrid journey was 2019 at that Texas Spartan race. I don't even know if she remembers. I actually feel I want to reach out to her and be like, hey, do you remember this race 7 years ago? But from then on, the whole journey transpired through social media. So after I ran that Spartan race, I started getting things in my Instagram feed like more tough putters, and then this new thing that was coming to the US called HYROX. Obviously, no one knew what HYROX was in 2019. But to me, it looked similar-ish to Spartan, but just indoors.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this too. I didn't have a life plan as far as what I wanted to do with my career, and I was living at home, bumming around, kind of. I mean, I had jobs, but no career. So signed up for that 2020 New York City HYROX race. And here's 22-year-old me, like, I'm going to go travel and make money and be a full-time athlete. Went to New York in early 2020, ran that, got second place behind Alyssa Hawley, who was a really good Spartan athlete back in the day. I think she has since stepped away from the sport, but she was someone I really looked up to in Spartan racing. I'm like, okay, I'm up there with the big dogs in the Spartan events. Like, this is pretty cool. So I kind of decided to go all in on HYROX after that moment. I signed up for HYROX Chicago, where at the time, I think I had like the second fastest HYROX time ever recorded behind Lauren Weeks, who we also
Another big
now.
Name, shocker.
Exactly. So like these are all girls who have also been in the sport for just as long as I. And it was a really fun new thing for me to pursue after my running career ended dramatically. But then we know that this thing called COVID happened in 2020, and that stopped everything. No more racing, no more traveling. You couldn't really even see people. And then that's what prompted my journey to go back to school, actually. So I had a hiatus in 2020 to 2022, and I didn't really work out that much. Like I worked out just to relieve stress from academics, because I was definitely stressed while pursuing my master's degree. But there was no like rhyme or reason. It was like go to the gym, run, maybe sometimes, lift, maybe sometimes. But I don't know, I strayed away from HYROX a little bit in that 2-year period. I would always see it on my Instagram feed, but that was something I did in the past. It wasn't ever something I thought I was going to get back to. It was like, oh, it was fun. It was fun while it lasted. Because I took school super seriously at that time. I'm really competitive, on the HYROX floor, on a track, but I'm also competitive, basically with anything in my life. It's like, I just want to be the best that I can be. So I put 100% effort into school. When I graduated, that's when I started my career. So I started, making money, and HYROX again was kind of in the back of my mind, and seeing people do it a little bit more frequently in 2022 made me think maybe I should try this again. Didn't take it super seriously in 2022 when I first came back. It was like, let's just get my feet wet again. Let's see what's out there. Let me try this thing also called DecaFit, which at that time I think, was becoming increasingly popular in 2022. Started training more formally. But the journey that people see today, or the person that I was on Sunday or Saturday when I took that microphone and said, this is a long journey, is exactly kind of what I'm going over. It was, get really into the sport for a little bit of time and then have it get taken away from you. Get really into it, get really fit, get injured, and then have it taken away from you. It's just different iterations of the same problem.
For sure.
I would do it, something would happen, and then I couldn't do it for a while. So it wasn't until probably the last 2 years that I had, some consistency with my training. consistency with my goals as far as what do I want to do. I like to have a vision and a purpose behind most of the things in my life, whether
Yeah.
it's my professional career, my athletic career, just everything. I'm a type A person. Like I don't know. That's how I've been my entire life, is like write things down and accomplish them. I'm always someone who has sticky notes on everywhere. I'm looking at them right now and I cross things out. That's how I stay organized amidst the chaos. Um, so I guess over the last 2 years, it's been just more, more stable progress with
Mm-hmm.
the sport. Knowing I have always been here, but just in some different capacity throughout the years.
For sure.
And it wasn't, I guess since 2023, when I won DecaFit Worlds, that I started going, okay, well, maybe I'm actually good. There was always a little bit of a doubt in my head that like I shouldn't be up there with the big dogs because I've never done anything big. So I had like a nihilistic view on myself of like, oh, well, not yet. Or, oh, you're not good enough yet. But I think that was the catalyst in 2023 that allowed me to kind of have a little bit more confidence when I am racing in big races, and allow me to persevere through all the injury struggles I've had over the last 6 years, to be in the moment last weekend of crossing the finish line, qualifying for Worlds for Elite 15, and being very grateful and fortunate that I stuck it out over the tumultuous journey that was from 2020 to 2026.
Wow. That is, I have so many thoughts. My first thought is like, how in the world did you like feel confident or courageous enough to run again, to engage yourself in HYROX, or I'm sorry, even in Spartan from the very beginning, after
Mm-hmm.
signing your agreement, right? Your letter of like, I'm not running again. Like
Oh
what went
yeah,
through your head where you were like, no, I'm going to try this. I'm going to do this again.
yeah. I think it's an ever growing process for me. It's still something I struggle with today. Um, it's little baby steps that incrementally build over a long period of time. So I did not immediately go back into running and go, I'm going to go run 40 miles a week. It was, let me run one day this week and see how my legs, see how my back, see how something feels. And after those one day a week runs for 2 months felt good, it's let's increase that to 2 days a week and see how that feels. So I think it was a journey of, being extremely cautious, because there was always the doubts in the back of my head, the doctor saying you shouldn't run again, but also me being me and my competitive self and wanting to do what I want to do, which is run, trying to find a balance between both of those. So sorry, doctor from 2019, I'm still running, but
I'm a badass at it, actually.
thank you. But it's so long. I'm still struggling. I don't want to say struggling. It's still part of my journey of
Yeah.
being smart with the buildup, being okay if my running progress doesn't look as linear as a lot of other people's, avoiding the comparison issue. It's an epidemic of, there's so many people posting on Instagram of like, this is what I do, or this is how much I train. So just kind of like taking myself away from that, like trying to not consume things that might potentially make me compare myself to somebody else. Running, like doing my own thing, following my own journey, and ensuring and trusting that what I'm doing is right for me and only me. Yeah.
I mean, that just needs to be like on a plaque somewhere. That is like how we all as athlete needs to live our lives, but it's so much
Mm-hmm.
harder, easier
Yeah.
said than done.
Yeah.
And that was actually my second thought, was thinking, okay, if I'm Morgan and I took time off after COVID thinking, oh, HYROX is never really a thing for me. I go to
Mm-hmm.
school, I do my thing, and then I come back to it. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching all these women like the Lauren Weeks and the Chris Rogalskis. Now they're in the Elite 15. They're doing big
Mm-hmm.
things. Had I just stuck with it, I wonder where I would be today. Did you
Oh
ever
yeah.
have that thought? And how have you mentally been able to say, you know what, like I feel good of where I'm at?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I had those thoughts for sure. Um, I think I'd be lying if I said, "Oh no, it didn't bother me." It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it for sure did. I wouldn't say it bothered me in a negative way. I think it inspired me to know that, at one point I was there. I know that I can be back there if I just, refocus, like shift my focus slightly. Um, you know, I didn't avoid social media when I was in grad school. I saw what people are doing. I followed along. They're friends of mine, you know, they've been friends of mine for years and years. So like I was always a part of their journey from afar. And I think this, what I'm about to say, I think is relevant to the whole comparison thing. In 2020, I took the sport extremely seriously. I put my basically my self-worth and my thought of myself into my performance. So when a performance did not go well, I was depressed because my identity was tied to that. Almost too much so that it became less and less fun, as inevitably you're going to have a bad performance. So inevitably, if your self-worth is so tied to your athletic performance, you're not going to feel good about yourself. We're never going to have 100% races, 100% success rate in all of our attempts. That's not fun when you're racing, right? What's fun about racing is the journey to get to the top, your top. So in 2020, I started to, I don't know, suffer with my mental health because it was too closely tied to my performance. So I needed that time away. I needed those 2 years off to shift how I would think about the sport. So when I did come back, if those thoughts were there of like, oh my gosh, I'm so freaked out because of this race. I'm so freaked out because of this race because I care about my performance, but not because it has anything to do with my identity.
Yeah.
And I think that was a massive mindset shift. Like I care about racing, I do, but it's not who I am. Like I'm not just a HYROX racer. I am a daughter, a sister, a friend, a girlfriend. Like that's more important to me, is like being a good human. Racing is so much fun. I love it, but it's not like my identity. And I think that's what I struggled with in 2020. And that's why coming into the sport again is so much less stressful for me, because yes, I see everyone having success, but like maybe my success and my path to gaining success looks a little bit different from other people, because I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. I like to be a multifaceted person. I like to enjoy things outside of the sport. And I think that really brings me like holistic happiness. Is so it wasn't just a physical journey from 2020 to 2026. It was a massive like mental reconstruction of don't put all of your weight in your self-worth and your performance, because at the end of the day, you will always be let down. I think that's the biggest change of mindset that I've had over the past 6 years.
It's absolutely phenomenal. Like I can feel it just even like through the computer of like, wow, she's done the work. And I reached out to some of my team members on the underdog team of like, hey, I've got a badass on the podcast with you guys.
They're
like
so great.
I need you know, to know what you guys want to know. Like, what are some of your questions? And one of the big ones that came through is like, you know, Morgan was always someone to watch at the pro level. And now that she stepped into the elite 15 level, they want to know like what has been sort of like the needle mover for you. And I have to imagine that there maybe was some physical things that happened, but I probably imagine more this was a mental, emotional thing for you where the needle really moved to that side. So I'm curious to know, like, from your perspective, what you think that is.
That's a good question. Like you said, it's twofold for me. I think primarily the physical, for me, if I'm healthy and I'm training at 80% of my capacity, but I'm 100% healthy, I'm going to get a way better performance than if I'm training at 100%, but performing at 70% because of some physical thing that's going on with me. So my number one priority with racing is to always be healthy. The training can always build up over time, but your health, sometimes you don't want to take a backseat on it because it might have you get out or stay out of training for 6 weeks if it turns into a stress fracture. So that's my number one priority when it comes to my physical health. Is a healthy Morgan is a dangerous Morgan. Maybe I only train, so say I'm healthy, but only training 6 hours a week, at least I'm healthy.
Yep.
But if I'm unhealthy and training 13 hours a week, so what? You're going to be out inevitably for something that pops up that might be more serious than just a niggle in my shin. So that was a big physical piece of growth that I went through over the past few years. Mentally, I kind of touched on it. I take this sport seriously, but I don't take myself seriously when I'm doing the sport. So what that means, and I think what that looks like, is for anyone who watched the live stream for DC, we all line up in the back and they call you out and, they say Morgan Schulz, USA. And in that moment, there's a lot of tension, there's a lot of energy. People are, getting anxious for the race. I was too. But at the end of the day, if we go like big picture, we're literally running in concrete circles and doing, cross like fitness stations for fun. How cool is that? It's so cool. And I think having like a bird's eye view from it instead of being so cooped up in my own brain before I'm about to, go hurt myself for 60 minutes allows me to have so much better performances.
Yeah.
So I did, and the reason why I brought that up is because I did a little dance. I did a little gritty when I was going down down the thing. And I'm like, because it's cool. It's fun. This race is fun. It should always be fun. The moment it's not fun is the moment I don't want to do it anymore. And I think for me, for it to be fun, I need to not take myself so seriously. Because I got in that mindset, when I first started the sport of like everything is serious. I have to have a straight face. I can't laugh, smile, or joke before I run because that's going to impact my performance. Like that's how bad it was for me. Couldn't talk to people before a race. If I raced at 5 p.m., I would talk to 0 people that day because I had to focus.
Oh,
right. That's like not a great way to live life. And I struggled with that because that's what I thought I needed to do to be a really good athlete is avoid the noise. And when you can learn to introduce the noise into your life while still balancing training well, I think you're going to live a much more holistic athlete life. So I just let myself be silly, let myself enjoy the moment. When I am silly and I take it a little bit less serious is when I have better races. There's prime example. Most of my races this year have been, I'm joking around with people in the warm-up zone, or I'm waving to my parents right before I leave the start line just to say hi. And that for me has been correlated to significantly increasing my performance. The moment I took it less seriously, the better my performance came. So of course I take the sport seriously, but I don't take myself seriously. And I think there's a distinction between those two things. Yeah. So physical and mental growth have been insurmountable for me over the last 6 years.
Yeah. I think some notable moments just watching you on the live stream. I mean, during the individual race, that final lap going into the wall balls, you could just tell like you were light until you got to the wall balls. Was it your quad that seized or what?
Yeah.
I was like, uh-oh, something's not okay.
Oh my gosh, I know. That is like, what a can of worms. It's so true though. So when I was lunging, I was getting really crampy in my right quad and my groin. I was like, there's just something that feels like weird. And I got a yellow card during the lunges. So I started like really slowing down my lunges, but I was always slowing down my lunges. My leg was cramping more and I'm like, oh no. So after the lunges, I went on that last run and I'm like, holy cow, I have like the worst cramp ever in my inner quad, like my groin, I thought.
Oh.
And then I was like, whatever, like you're almost done. Like you got this. It's
just 100 more reps. It's fine.
Yes, that's it. It's like, you can do this. Like a lot of positive self-talk at that moment, even though I wasn't feeling amazing. Because no one's feeling amazing, right? No one goes in the wall balls and is like,
I feel great.
I can't wait to do 100, or like 105 with no reps.
Yeah.
So still trying to stay positive, but I was like, man, I'm hurting this. I just want to be done. I get to the wall ball, and also for context, wall balls are notoriously my worst station.
They were saying that on the live stream. I was like, please don't lose it here.
Yeah. Like I don't know what it is. It might be a mental thing that I need to like unblock, but I just can't get myself to do like a large set or large sets once I get into the wall ball. The moment it hurts, and for me it's my shoulders, I freak out a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I can push myself on a run, push myself on a sled, but like for me, the wall ball pain is a little bit different. So not only, we get into the wall balls, I have a little creeping thought in the back of my mind of like, oh, your quad hurts, remember. So I start squatting and I'm like, holy cow, I have like some weird cramping thing in my quad. So I was trying to shake it out like while I was wall balling, and I'm like, oh no, like you don't have time to shake it out. Carolyn's in 4th place. Like, you're going to get past. Just pick up the ball, do as many reps as you can, and you have to be happy with that. there's always going to be something that pops up in a race. It's okay. Like, you're fine. Um, but yeah, it was just managing and navigating a little bit of pain that has since gone away. Like, I feel fine. It's not a
Good.
problem anymore. HYROX is very taxing on the body, obviously. So like things pop up, my quad cramped up. I like to think, oh, was I hydrated enough? Yeah, I was hydrated enough. It's just a hard race. It
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
But we somehow pulled through 12 seconds at the end. It was an incredible race. Carolyn is an animal, and she's going to be somebody that people are going to be talking about for the next few years. She's young, she's novel to the sport, and I think she's going to be someone that people should have their eyes on
Yeah.
going into next season. So it was cool just to be part of that
Yeah.
environment and witness that from someone who was trying to not have her pass me.
Yeah, no, for sure. And definitely the most notable moment was not you grabbing your quad being like, "Hi, I'm dying."
Uh-huh.
It was the energy that you were giving off in that last round. Pain or no pain, you could
Uh-huh.
tell that like, oh, she's in a really good spot mentally for this right
Yeah.
now, and like things have just really lined up. And it's
Yeah.
honestly one of my favorite reasons watching you and Kat race and
Uh-huh.
just be who you guys are, because you're silly, you're goofy, like you
Oh
make it
yeah.
fun, which is exactly all this should ever be. So
Yeah.
like I get it. There's some other teams out there that are wild, but the performance that you two put up against Lauren Weeks and Vivian, I'm like, I don't know, give them a couple more months and they might be on their heels
Yeah.
because of the energy that they give off. So
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of what you guys are doing mentally. I think that it's gonna turn out really well at Worlds for you guys.
Yeah, and I think like we really, without even thinking about it, we really dive into our personalities while we're racing together.
Hmm.
I mean, we randomly decided to call ourselves the Plum Sisters this
Yep.
weekend because we had plum uniforms. It's like that's just random and silly, but like
Yep.
that's who we are. It's like we cultivate like good energy, like with each other, with all the girls. Everyone is such a joy to be around in the sport,
Yeah.
especially at the elite level when you get to spend a lot of time with the ladies. Um, Everyone is so much fun to be around. I think cultivating the energy and allowing people to feel comfortable with being themselves is something that we strive to give
Yep.
off when we're racing together. Kat and I had a fantastic performance this weekend. It was so much fun, especially bouncing back after a brutal race the night before. Like
Yeah.
I was down bad after that. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna race again. I
But
don't
you
think I
did.
ever. It's like I very rarely do back to back races, just because it's hard on the body. And I usually like to celebrate after a race. Go out with friends, like get food, have a drink. Um, so I couldn't do that this weekend because we raced
Yeah.
again. Um, but I think we really stepped up. We stepped up. We ran a huge PR. There was a point in the race where Vivian and Lauren weren't that far ahead of us,
I
and I
know.
felt like if we clear up some of our station work, which we have identified where our weaknesses are, and we know what we need to do to improve those, that I think the next time we step on the field, or not the field, the race course,
Same, 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 same.
same thing, field, course,
Yeah.
event, arena. Next time we step into the arena, I think we're going to be a pretty dangerous team for other teams to kind of be aware of.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and it's so fun to race with somebody that I really vibe with, like
Yeah.
not just as an athlete, but as a person. Like she is such a joy. Kat is like such a close friend of mine now, and it's great that the sport brings people together that have similar mindsets, similar
Hmm.
outlooks. Um, so it's just fun to be on this journey with her and to give ourselves another opportunity at World Championships to kind of see what we're made of.
Yeah, I'm so excited to watch it all go down. And I think speaking of world championships, I know there's probably a lot of people wondering like, is there anything that you're going to change or any routines that you'll pick up? Like people want to know about your preparation. And by no means am I like, give us all of your secrets because like that's for you to do behind closed doors. But like,
Uh-huh.
is there anything that you're like, whether I'm an age group, a pro level athlete, whoever it is going into world championships in the next couple of months, like, is there any advice or things that you could tangibly give them, seeing what's
Uh-huh.
worked for you as they
Yeah.
start to prepare themselves for June?
Yeah. I think one piece of advice is once an athlete, including myself, has identified the method at which they like to train and has been doing it for a set number of for a set period of time, I think it's really important to not change anything really drastically except hone into things that you know you want to focus on. So an example for me is I'm not going to change my training really at all. What's worked for me has, brought me success this season. It's allowed me to balance a full-time job while training full-time. I'm not biting off more than I can chew. I'm not going to go into the next block, the next 3-month block, and go, I want to increase my volume by 50%. Do I know that that works for me? No, I don't. So why would I test something out 3 months leading into a massive race that might potentially cause me an injury, burnout, missing time at work because I'm trying to fit in another 2-hour zone 2 session? Like, I know it works for me. I've been in the sport long enough. I've tried different training styles. I'm not going to change anything drastically. And I would really echo that for most people. If you have a method or a plan of action that fits in your schedule that you like and you have fun with, that's super important. Do you have fun with it? Then there's no point in changing anything. But I think there's also merit to say you can find something that you want to work on and include that or shift that or mold that into your training program for Worlds. My example, a clear example that everybody seems to know, is my wall balls are not amazing. So one thing that we're going to be doing, and my coach is Rich Ryan. He's been in my corner. Awesome. He's amazing. He's been in my corner for years and years and years. I've, been friends with him since 2018. He's just always had my back. The most supportive person, and always is just a joy to work with. Knows exactly what I need in training. He's worked with me throughout all my injuries that I've had in the sport. So what we're going to do is really not change anything. However, I do know where I want to focus. And obviously that's the wall balls. So what we might do in training is, instead of a workout that ends with like a set of lunges or burpees, we might throw in some extra wall ball sets and reps. How do you want to change it in your training? Does it mean we want to add another day that we're using it, or that we're doing it? Or do we want to add a little bit more volume on the days that we're already doing it? I think that's important for longevity in the sport. I think people can get burned out if they change their training dramatically, including increasing volume or changing the training style or intensity. Find what you like. That's the most important thing. Find what you know you can stay consistent with. That's also the most important thing. The marriage of consistency and fun is when you'll have your best result. If you're having fun with it, how can it go wrong? Everyone will inevitably have a bad race. I've had many bad races. Oh my gosh, we would be sitting on a podcast for 2 hours to tell you all the bad races that I've had.
For sure.
It's part of the journey. You're never going to have an amazing race. It's okay. It might happen at Worlds. That's all right. That's why, this sport is a year-round sport now. You have so many opportunities to kind of fine-tune your strategy. So don't change too much. Focus on the things you really want to focus on and need to focus on, but how can you mold that into your already developed training strategy, I think is my best advice for an elite athlete or somebody who just is doing it for fun.
Yeah. Well, as a coach, I'll echo that as well too. The best training programs are typically the most boring. And by boring, I'm not saying they're not fun, but boring is in like, they're not sexy. It's very focused in on the fundamentals, and to what you were talking about with the number one priority is your health and making sure that you're feeling good. The best sessions are the ones where you could actually show up to exude the right effort, exude the right intensity. And if you're 100%. Constantly broken and on one wheel, you're not doing that. You're just working yourself further into a hole. So I talk about that a lot. I preach that a lot. It's great to hear that from the elite level, that like you've seen both sides of the coin and you're like, this is the better side, stay there.
Yeah, for sure.
What about mentally? Because I mean, I'm even curious, like, I know when I first stepped onto the elite field for the DECA World Championships, it was 2024 when I got my chance to do the elite strong and the elite mile. And like, just mentally, you're like, holy shit, like this is a big deal. And I know that DECA is nowhere near what HYROX is, especially with the live stream and the eyes that it has on it now. But like, mentally, what are you doing to be like, I'm going to be in 2 elite 15 races? Like, how am I going to show up as the right Morgan on that start line?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think if you asked me this a few years ago, my answer would be totally different. But my answer is, it's going to be a boring answer, is I am not going to change a single thing of my mindset of what I think about this sport and what I think about myself. It's going to be, do your thing, be you, exude the energy that people see when you are on camera, when you are at races, have fun. And that's when I get my best performances. I have a
Mm-hmm.
distinct memory going into Chicago of this fall where I put zero pressure on myself to do anything notable in this race. I ran a PR, it was like a 2-minute PR. But going into it, I had a lot of like life stuff happen to me in the fall, and I wasn't really focused on being an athlete at that time. I just showed up, put my racing shoes on, short warm up, let's go have fun. And when you have experiences like that, where you're not putting a lot of like external and internal pressure on yourself to perform, is when you sometimes can surprise yourself the most and get the most out of your performance. So by default, to me, I take that as a learning lesson of the less pressure I put on myself, the better I perform. So what's the point of giving myself all this noise of, you know, focus up or like dial X, Y, and Z in to perform? I'm just going to be me. I'm going to show up, have fun. And I'm a competitive person by nature. Everybody in Elite 15 and out of the Elite 15, there's a lot of competitive people in this sport. They're going to get the best out of their performance because they want the best out of themselves. So I'm really not going to change any sort of mental, mindset that I have going into Worlds. I think I'm going to have a lot of gratitude for the opportunity, which might change, from previous experiences is like, I paid to get myself there. Like I can race amidst like all thousands of people that are here, but this is an experience you can't pay for. It's an experience that I earned. So it's a lot of gratitude, a lot of like just, I don't know, looking back and being grateful for the journey. I think when I, get on my flight to Sweden, I think that's the energy I'm going to carry when I'm out there is be very grateful for this. You worked for this for 6 years. It's been a fun journey, a tumultuous journey. But I really don't want to get into the mindset of, extreme thoughts when it comes to ensuring I'm doing everything I can do. Did I do everything I do? Like those thoughts that flood into you that are negative thoughts of like, did I really do everything? Oh, I forgot to drink water this morning at like 9 a.m. I should have drank those things that athletes think of when they're like really close to competing. I'm going to go out there and be grateful. I'm going to go out there and be myself, have fun, experience the moment, enjoy the time with all the other ladies that are there who also equally earn their spot to be there. So in general, like my mindset has changed a lot in 6 years, but it's changed a lot for the benefit of myself outside of the sport, which has allowed me to be a better partner, a better worker. I don't take my athlete work life home with me when I'm at my job.
Amazing.
It's all right. It's okay. Bad workout doesn't mean a bad work day. And it's just allowed me to live such a more holistic, positive life. No pressure, no expectation. And that's when I know I go out there and run my best races.
Absolutely. And I think that you're spot on in that. I think the way to end the podcast, I think you've painted it beautifully, but I am curious to know, like, truly, if you could sum it up, what has hybrid racing truly done for you and for your life? And for anyone that's sitting on the sidelines thinking, oh, I'm terrified to run my first HYROX, or I'm terrified to run my first deck, or whatever it is that they're looking to do, why should they do it?
That's a good question. I think for me, it's done a lot to remind myself that I belong in a place that I want to be in. And that could be the same for a lot of people. A lot of people might play the comparison game when they see people on social media of, oh, I can't do it yet. I'm not ready yet. There's no good time for you to start something new. It's always a risk. A lot of things that we do in life are a risk. Driving on the highway is a risk, but we need to get from point A to point B so we can go to work or so we can go to the gym. There's a lot of risks in life. And sometimes those risks are worth weighing. But in a sport that is so welcoming and warm to old faces and new faces, it's a perfect time for people to take that risk, to go start working out at a gym, which might turn into working out for your next HYROX, which might turn into working out to traveling somewhere for the first time that you've never been, which might turn into meeting friends at a race, friends from different countries or states that you might never have met before if you would have just sat online instead of thinking about what could happen and just doing it. So for me, it's allowed me to explore another avenue of life, not just the sport itself, not just, getting myself back into the arena and competing again like I was in college. It's allowed me to open my eyes to the thousands and hundreds of thousands of people that also do this for fun. It's allowed me to meet some of my best friends. I met one of my closest friends I met doing hybrid sports, and I am her maid of honor in her wedding in the fall. So it connects people. It connects people. It's a great environment to be in. I'd say it's always worth the risk. And at the end of the day, the risk benefit ratio is really small in HYROX because you're going to go out there, enjoy it, be confident in your ability, and be grateful at the end of the day that we have things like this that allow us to get outside of our comfort zone, to meet new people, to travel to cool places. I think it's a sport for everybody. Everybody has a place in HYROX. Everybody has a place in DecaFit. I don't want people to think to be, subdued by seeing, all these fit people on Instagram. You're just as strong and brave and powerful as any of these Elite 15 athletes. I think that's one, piece of advice I would like to leave for someone who might be potentially considering a HYROX race is go do it for yourself. Don't do it for anybody else. Do it because you want to do it. Do it because it brings you structure in your life. Do it because it allows you to pursue something that's healthy and fun, and you might meet some really awesome people along the way. And that's been the best part of me. But that's been the best part of this journey for me, is just the community that comes with it.
I couldn't have said it any better. I agree with everything that you've stated, and just having this conversation now, I personally am so excited to watch you and Kat go out and take Sweden by storm. I know you guys are going to do amazing things, but thank you so much for your time today. It was absolutely a pleasure to have you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kayla. Watch out for the Plum Sisters, Sweden, June 18th, 2026.
Yes.
You'll see us.